it as what? Structure, right? The disadvantage only what? Homogeneous data. So we here go for what? Storing and heterogeneous data. For that purpose only, we go for what? We go for the structures. Okay, what are the ways in which we can go for defining structures? What is the syntax for the structure? We have struct, right? And what are the data type members we need to handle for that particular? After that, you can go for defining the structure variables immediately after defining the structure, or you can go for defining it individually or separately, right? So it is not necessary that we need to define it immediately after the structure variable. We can go for defining it separately. We can go for defining that in the main program also, right? So how we were able to handle different data types, right? So in case of array, the advantage is that we were able to store a huge volume of data of same data type, right? Similarly, we can have array of structures also. We can have what? Array of structures also. In case of this array of structures, we are able to store, right? We are able to store different data type. We are able to store what? Different data type of huge volume of data, right? Suppose I need to store the information relating to that of the students, I can go for storing what up to n number of students can be stored using what? Array of structures, right? Right, that is what we were discussing in the previous classes. And one more thing, how we went for initializing the arrays also, right? I'll just share. Right, so we were initializing the arrays also. Do you people remember, right? So first we were discussing about what is the structure, right? So a structure is nothing but way we can go for handling a heterogeneous data, right? So the data which is being logically related can be handled using structures, right? And then the syntax for that is struct tag name and the data type members. Here you can see it should always end with a semicolon. That is very, very important. So indicating to us that it is going to be the end of the data type members declared inside the struct, right? That is the end of the template. So after defining the structure itself, we can go for what? Defining the variable, or else we can go for defining the variable separately. It is not necessary. So for each and every data type, you can go for assigning a variable, right? In that case, each and everything will have a separate memory space allocated for it. That is the thing, right? So you can go for using one variable for the entire data type was also not an issue, right? So how we can go for accessing the structure members? It is a very important question for MCQs as well as for your 2 marks or for your this thing, right? 2 marks, right? So how using a pointer period operator or a dot operator, we can go for what? We can go for accessing the structure members, right? So the structure variables, right? Here I can go for assigning a value to it directly also. So the method one, how, so the B1 dot operator is being used, right? B1 is the variable associated with that, right? The data type member pages, and I can go for assigning a value directly to it, right? So the string copy function can be used. I can go for using the scanf function, and we have seen an example, right? Related to what? Related to book as well as related to an employer student details we have discussed, right? So, and then we were discussing about the initialization, right? So how we go for assigning a value to a variable. Similarly, I can assign a value to the structure variable also. So it automatically, but in this case, you must remember that I should declare, that is, I should assign the values, right, to the variables for all the data type members what I have declared inside. That is the condition for structure initialization. If I go for assigning a value for int roll number alone, it is not correct, right? I should go for assigning two values, one for the roll number and for the attendance. Otherwise, it will show a syntax error, right? So that is what is your structure initialization. What you must remember, that the thing is that you must we assigning a value for all the data type members, right? Whenever you assign a value to a variable associated with the structure, you should go for assigning the values to all the data type variable, data type members what you have declared inside the structure, right? So these are the ways in which we can go for what initializing the structures, right? And then we have seen about also we can have a nested structure, where in this nested structure we have an inner structure. So whenever we go for accessing an inner structure, we should go for using the variable associated with the outer structure as well as the inner structure. But for the data type members which is being declared in the outer structure, there we need to go for using only the outer structure variable, right? So that is what is your nested structure, right? And then we have seen the difference between what is an array and a structure, right? So we here and all we have a keyword, but there in that case we don't have a keyword and all, right? So that is very, very important, right? And then we have see the difference for your structure and structure as well as for your array. You can expect that for your 4 marks or for your, they may ask you with examples in detail for your exams, right? So array of structures also we have declared. So where instead of going for handling one single data of different data types, we can handle what or n number of items which is being what logically related, that is which is going to have what different data types, right? So that is also we have discussed that day. Next, passing a structure to a function. This was the one which we were discussing that day. So again we'll go for starting with that, right? How we can go for passing a structure to a function in C. So there are three ways in which we can go for what passing a structure to a function. One is by the value, one by the reference, and then no need to pass a structure. Instead, you can go for declaring the structure variable as what global, right? So what are the three ways? The first way is call by value, and then the next is that function by value, function by reference, right? So instead of declaring it instead of declaring inside a function which is being locally available to that particular program, we can go for declaring that as a global, right? Structure variable as what global, right? So these are the three ways in which we can go for what passing the structure to a function in C. So these are the ways, right? So in this you can see to this in this that is passing structure to a function in C by value. In this program what happens is that the whole structure is being passed to what another function by what by value. You are assigning a value to it, that value is being passed over there. It means that whole structure is passed to another function with all the members and their values. The thing what you should note it over here, what is the disadvantage of C in structure is that we don't have the security over here. So the data is not being secured over here. So because it is being made, it is passed to another function with all the members and their values. So whoever can access the data can go for easily access this particular data. So that is what is your disadvantage of your C. So it doesn't have the data security, right? It doesn't have data security. So that is what. So whenever we discuss about the data security in case of C++, which is an advanced version of C, there you have that data can be secured. It can be made private, but here it is not possible. That is the disadvantage of your C language, right? So the structure can be accessed from what? From called function. This concept is very useful, right? Okay, so now how we pass an argument, right? Similarly, we can go for passing a structure also as a function. So what are the ways? So first is going to be a call by value, right? So we'll look into the program over here. So include standard input output dot header file. So in string dot header file, as usual, your integer is going to be struct is nothing but your student. Int integer, your ID number is going to be an int, name and float percentage. You are going to have it over here, right? So here we are going to declare the function void function struct student record, right? So you are passing the function struct student record, okay? So now, so actually, whenever we go for declaring the functions, we used to declare it immediately after the header files, right? So here, immediately after declaring your structure over here, we have stated here void function struct student record, right? Next, inside, I'm calling the struct student record, right? So record, I am assigning a value, right? ID is equal to 1, string copy, record name, I need to, I'm giving the value as what, name as Raju, and the percentage as 86.5. Now I have this as what function. So I'm calling that. So function what record. So whenever I go for calling that function record, right, what happens? The control transfers to what void function structure student record, right? Void function structure student record. So here record dot id. So this is your function. What is the function name which has been given over here record? So record dot id, record dot name, record dot percentage over here, right? Their function, I have called the function what inside, I'm calling the function what record over here. Here I have given that structure student record over here. So the function name I am passing it over here is here record. So I am passing the value what id is equal to 1, the name as Raju, and the student who has scored as what 86.5. So now it gets displayed over here. ID is 1, name is Raju, percentage is what 86.5. So if I give it as 0.2f, right? Then it would give me the value as what? Give me the 0.50, right? It will be rounded up to 2 decimal places, right? Able to understand? I'm just passing the value which is being made available in the main function to this particular function, what record. So, and it gets displayed onto the screen, right? Able to understand this? Do you have any doubt in this? Right? So I'm just passing a value, right? I'm just declaring the values in the where in the main program, and whenever I go for calling that particular function, right? So particular function, the value is being what? And the value is being passed on to this particular function, and we are able to see that what is being handled by that function record, and it is gets displayed onto the screen. Okay. Are you done with this? We'll go for executing this program. I'll go for executing this program. Okay, I'll stop sharing the screen, right? I'll go for another screen over here. You can see to that. So here we have over here. So struct student, right? Inside that we have int, integer, character, float, percentage is going to be that. So we didn't declare any variable after that, right? Over here we have void function, right? This one is going to be struct student record, right? Struct student record, right? Void main inside the main function, I'm calling that particulars because I have not created a variable, right? Struct student, right? Record is struct student is nothing but the structure name, right? I need to create a variable for it. That variable name is what record over here, right? How we created b1, b2, b3. Similarly, for this function, we have given the name as what record over here. Now I am assigning the values to it, right? Assigning the values to it, what it is, record dot id is equal to 1. Now I'm going to copy, right? What I'm going to copy, string copy record dot name comma Raju, right? And I'm giving the values to it, right? So and here I'm calling the function over here. I'm calling the function over here, right? Okay. Right, next what I need to do, I need to give the values over here, right? So I'll just copy this from that. Able to see the online GTPC compiler, ma? Is it being shared to you all? Yes? Okay, ma. Thank you all. Thank you all, ma. Okay, see here. Here I have just declared the structure over here. After immediately declaring the structure, I have immediately declared the function over here. Void function struct student record. Next, I have I'm creating a variable for the data type members right over here. Struct student record. I am passing a value record.id is equal to 1. I'm passing the value Raju and his marks over here. And then I go for calling his function what record over here, right? Function, I'm calling the function what record over here. So whenever I call this function, immediately the control is being transferred to this call the program, right? So printf here it goes for what? Printing the value. Record.id I have given assign the value as 1, and name I have assigned the value as Raju, and the marks here secured as I have given it as 86.5. That gets so if that value is being passed on to this, right? The calling function passes the value onto the call. That is, this is the calling function, right? So it calls the function what record. So now the value is being passed from the calling function to the called function over here. So this one will be calling it as here call by value. We'll just run this program. Okay, what is that? Void main, void function struct record function. Yes. Which one is the yes? We'll just execute this program. Yes, ID is 1, name is Raju, percentage is what? 86.5. Right? So here we have what? So what is the thing? Here we are just passing a value over here, call by value. This is an example for what? Call by value. The similar program we can go for giving for a call by reference, right? So call by reference means what? Instead of giving the value, you will be giving the address for it. You will be giving what? The address for it. You will be giving the address for it. So here, instead of function, here you have, right, stuck to student, right? So instead of record over here, you will be giving what? Asterisk over here, right? And then whenever you call this function, you are passing an address to this function. You go for what? Passing an address to this function. That is the difference over here. We'll execute that. And before that, I'll go again to the PPT over here, right? So first, whatever we have discussed is as an example for what? Call by value, where we pass a value from the main function to the called function, right? We are just transferring the values over here, right? But whenever we look into this this program, that is passing the structure to a function and C by an address, right? Instead of this, I'm asterisk. What is the purpose of this asterisk, ma? What is the purpose of this asterisk over here? What is the purpose of this asterisk over here? I've given you the permission to unmute yourself, right? You can unmute and you can give me the answer. So what is the purpose of the pointer?
Address.
Address, right? So here, whenever I go for giving that over here, the pointer over here. So in the record, whenever I go for calling the function over here, I need to put an ampersand symbol, that is transferring the content, what is available in this particular address to this particular function, right? That is the difference, right? Nothing else is going to be the difference over here. The same program, right? The same program, I can go for what? Giving that. Using what? Using this asterisk symbol over here, that is passing address over there, right? Instead of passing a value, I'm going for what? Passing an address, right? So the same program. So what is the difference? I should make it over here. Now I should declare this as what? Declare this as what? Stuck student. What is the difference I need to make it over here? What I should do? I should put in what symbol over here? Shift star symbol, right? So here also I should go for what? Putting an asterisk over here, right? Okay. So whenever I go for calling that function, I should go for using the particular address over there. Sorry. Shift, right? Okay. So now record.id, record dot this thing, right? Here, whenever I go for calling this function, I should go for using what? Shift asterisk over here, right? Okay. So now I'll go for running this function. Student record. Dot struct the student, void function struct student asterisk record, struct student record. Run this. Void function struct student asterisk record, correct? Void means struct student record, record dot recorded name, record dot this thing, same thing only. Struct record, struct student record, ID function address book. Was that error when getting it over now? Function record, the same way only we have declared it over here. The point is over here. Record this program, same program. Void function struct student record, void main struct the student record, record dot id is equal to string copy, record dot percentage is equal to function address record. Correct only, no? Function address record only.
On 24th line, ampersand, ma'am. Function ampersand record.
Function ampersand only I used first, ma'am, but it was not executed. I'm getting an error. Void function struct student record asterisk, right? Struct student.
I
Here,
think int main return 0.
main, if it for anyhow.
Main return 0.
Okay. Here, struct student asterisk record. If I give, what happens?
Include stdio.h. I think there is any space in the 9th line.
9th line, ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, yes, space is there. Again, it is showing. The same program. Student record. There it worked. I actually executed this program previously, ma'am. It worked. I don't know what is that.
I think now it is executing, ma'am.
No.
Yeah, ma'am. You just scroll at the end. In the execution part.
No, ma'am. Okay, it is asking for this for operator.
Yeah, ma'am. Record, I think.
Record, I
Arrow.
tried that operator also there, but it didn't work it out. I don't know what to say. Period operator. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so the thing is that we should go for the period operator over here. So whenever you go for using a pointer over here, you just go for the period operator over here, right? Right, and I mean, in the function, right? The same program only we have executed over here. The same thing, right? Int, right? The character float, and here we have the record over here, right? So whenever we go for passing an address, we should go for using the pointer symbol over here, right? Struct student record as usual. How you go for declaring inside the main function for the pass by value, the same thing, but whenever you go for calling the function, that time use go for using the ampersand symbol over here, ampersand record, right? Because you are passing an address to that function, right? So then you are calling the function over here. So the address of it is being passed over here. Whenever you go for using the pointer, you go for the period operator over here, right? Yes. Yes, ma'am. Are you clear with this? Okay, so whenever I need to make this, whenever I go for declaring the structure variable as a global variable, then it is being made, you can go for what? Passing the value towards the entire thing. Instead of declaring inside, I just go for declaring it outside the function. It means that it is going to be what? Globally, it is being made available to all the programs, right? If it is going to be a what variable? Global variable. If it is going to be declared, here we are passing, first we passed a value, next we are passing an address, next you can see to the global declaration over here, struct student record, which is being globally declared over here, right? So void structure demo, under that we have int main record ID is equal to void structure. Just we have changed the name alone over here. So we are declaring it inside it, right? So previously we were declaring it where inside the main program, which was being available to that particular program only, right? So here you can see to that I'm calling that particular function what? Void structure demo. Void structure demo, right? So I am declaring that immediately after that structure student record, I am passing out this function void structure demo over here, right? So it is the global declaration of the structure where the structure is being made available to whatever the programs which is being appended to it, right? So struct student is going to be the structure. Again, I'm declaring that here I'm making the structure student record as what globally available over here. Void structure demo is the void structure demo is nothing but the function I am going to, so inside I am going to pass on the structure record to this demo function over here. You can see to that void. So int main string copy record dot structure demo I've called over here. Void structure demo goes for using that particular structure variable, right? Structure struct student record over here, right? So the same thing, right? The same thing, what I'm going to do it over here in this program, right? So in a struct student, I'm going to declare the struct student as a what variable? Global declaration I'm going to make. What declaration? Global declaration. Here you can see to that. So here struct student record, which is being what? Globally declared over here, which is being made available, right? So here, instead of giving inside it, right? Here I'll give the structure struct student record as what, which is going to be made declared as a global variable over here. So global declaration of what? Structure. Global declaration of structure. Global declaration of what? Structure over here. Void function struct student student here, right? I'm going to define this as student demo. Student demo, right? So this is the function, right? This function I'm going to make a call to this function record ID string copy. Here the function, right? Student demo. I'm going to call the function what? Student demo. Going to be a function, right? So void function, right? So here I need to call what? Student demo, right? I need to call what? Student demo, right? Inside that, right? So here I'm not using an address, so I can go here for the dot operator instead of the period operator over here. Okay, record dot percentage, right? So printf id is student demo, right? System 0. Printf, right? Int id character. So here I have made the global declaration. I'm passing void student demo. So whenever I go for calling this void student demo, this function, particular function, right? It goes for what? It goes for what? Calling this struct student record over there, right? Yes, correct. Able to understand this program? Do you have any doubt on this? See here, previously we were declaring this inside it, right? We were declaring the variable inside and we were passing that student record over here. But here I have made the structure itself as what as a global variable over here, right? A struct student record is being made what globally available to all the functions over here, right? So void student demo is the function. Now this void student demo, whenever I call the student demo function over here, it transfers the control over to where? To the struct student, retrieves the value from there and it goes for what? Printing it, right? Are you all clear with that? So first one we have seen what? Pausing by value. Next is what? Pass by reference is nothing but passing an address, right? The next thing, instead of passing a value or passing an address, I'll make it as what? A global, right? I'll make the structure as what global. I'll declare the structure as what? Global, right? Instead of local, I'm declaring the structure as what? Global over here, right? Yes, understood. Do you have any doubt in this? Do you have any doubt in this, ma? Okay. See here. So in the previous cases, you can see to that. See, in the previous case, whenever we have this pass by value, here what we declared, we have not we have declared the struct student record inside where? Inside the main function. We created a variable inside the main function, right? So here immediately here you can see, I'll annotate over here, right? Here you can see to that, here we have completed this thing. This is nothing but I'm calling the function by value. Function by value over here. Function by value. So what is that function by value is nothing but here. So whenever I execute this main program, whenever I go for calling this function record. Wait 1 second. This one is reference, right? I can enter. We'll go for the. Okay, so here we have this function by value, right? So in this function by value, you can see to that void function struct student record. So you might know the template of C, right? So first we'll be declaring the header files, and after that, what is that thing? Header files. After the header files, you'll be going for the main function. Before main function, if you have any functions, you can give a function declaration over there followed by a semicolon, right? If you have any global variables, you can go for what? Declaring that. That is the structure of C we have seen, right? So similarly here, what we need to look into it is that here we have what? Structure. So here after declaring the structure, I have declared the function over here. What is the function I am going to call? Structure. I am passing what? The structure as what? A function, right? So struct student, I am creating a variable for it. For that name is what? Record. Struct student record is nothing. Struct student is nothing but the structure name, right? Record is nothing but the variable which is being associated with the struct student, right? So now what I'm doing is that, so I'm going to the main program over here. So whenever I go for this main program over here, what I do is that I go for assigning a value to the record ID, name and percentage. And then after that, I go for calling what? This function record. So whenever I go for calling this function record, right, what happens? The control is being transferred to where? To the function struct student record, right? So now here I have given record at ID. Already I have the value in the main program. That value.
in India.
Yes, what you need to do is that you need to pass the value to from the main.
I think you can mute the participants, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, so here I'm passing on the value from the main program. It is being through the function, it is being passed on to this record, right? It copies the value from the main program over here. So I'm passing the value from the main program to this calling program over here. That is what is here called by value, right? So here in this case where you are declaring the structure, see to that over here, where you are declaring the structure over here, struct student record inside the main function, inside the main program, you're going for declaring that. But in case of your, you go for looking into the global declaration. So instead of declaring inside the main function over here, right? So usually what we need to do, we will be declaring it over here, right? Under int main struct student record. But we have made here struct student record to be made available globally. It is not locally available to that program. It is being made globally available, right? So only I have declared here struct student record over here. Yeah, so usually I used to call this in the main program. Since it is that I can go for making the structure as global, I can declare the structure globally. I am going for declaring it immediately after what defining the structure struct student record. It means that it is not a local declaration of a structure, it is a global declaration of structure. Whichever the function requires it, it can go for what? Accessing this structure, right? So void structure demo. So whenever I have this void structure demo, so it goes for taking out the value from where? It goes for taking out the value from where it takes the value from that structure and from the main function, and it goes for what? Executing that, right? Okay, now you know the difference. Now you know the difference. So instead of declaring inside the main function, whenever I go for declaring that outside the immediately after defining the structure, before declaring the function, if I go for making that create a structure variable for that structure, for that particular structure, then I'll be calling it as a global declaration of structure. Please note it down the difference, right? So if you for call by value and call by reference, we are declaring the structure variable, that is declaring the structure variable inside the main function. But whenever we go for declaring it at outside the main function, we make it what? It as a global structure. We make that as what structure? A global structure. Okay. So next, now you know what is the structure, right? Now we'll look into another topic, right? That we'll be calling it as a union. So what is the difference between union and structure? A very, very important question, right? What is the difference between a union and structure? Right, like structure, union is a user-defined data type that is used to store the different type of elements, right? At once, only one member of the union can occupy the memory. In other words, we can say that the size of the union in any instance is equal to the size of its largest element. See here, now character, what is the size? I have it over here 1 byte. For the integer, I have it over here as for 2 bytes. For the float, I have it over here as for 4 bytes. So whenever I go for creating a variable for it, so what is going to be the size of the variable is that, right, associated with the data 1 plus 2 plus 4, that is 7 bytes. Okay, the size of E1 is going to be what? 7 bytes. But whenever I go for this union, right, which one is going to have the largest size? It will go for assigning that byte as the size of that variable. Able to understand? See here, I have the same character size. I have it over here as 1, 2, and 4. But instead, what is the size? I have the largest size over here, 4. So the variable will go for assigning the largest size for it. Right? So what is the largest size? 4. So it will go for assigning the maximum size of one element is going to be how many bytes? 4 bytes over here. But here, how many bytes? 7 bytes. That is the difference between what your structure and then union. So in case of union, you can go for defining the data type, right? So similarly, how we are handling structures, we can handle the union also. The thing is that how it goes for occupying the memory is going to differ. It can go at once, only one member can only go for occupying that memory, right? So where the size of the union in any instance is equal to the size of its largest element. This is very important difference, right? Here you can see the size is 7, but here which is going to have the largest number of bytes, it is going to assign the size for it as equivalent to what? Maximum size of the element, right? Maximum size of one element is going to be what? Or the size of the largest element. What is the float as the size, largest size? So it will assign the size of one element as what? 4 bytes. But here it will assign the size as what? 7 bytes, because it adds together up. That means what? So it can store n number of data type, that is data type members, right? And so each data type member will be stored in separate memory. But here you see, only one data type member can go for occupying that memory, right? Only at a time, only one data type member can go for what? Occupying that memory, right? So here the same syntax, instead of struct, you will be going for what? The union over here. The syntax for union is what? Previously what we had? Struct the name, struct the tag name. Similarly here union underscore name. Similarly, how we are going to define the data type member 1, data type member 2. Likewise, you can go for defining n number of data types, right? Right. C structure allocates what? Storage space for all its members. That is what I told. It goes for what? Allocating the space, storage space for all the members separately. But here it allocates for only one data type member at a time. Right. So union allocates one common storage space for all. So union finds that which of its member needs high storage space over the members and allocates that much space only. So it occupies higher memory space, it occupies lower memory space, because it is going to store what? Only one data type member can occupy the memory space at a time. All the data type members can go for what? Occupying the memory space, right? We can access all the members of a structure at a time, but here we can go for accessing what? Only one member of the union at a time, right? So here we use struct student, int mark, char name, double average. So here double average, the same thing. Instead here struct, you will be using over here union. So what is the memory allocated? So 2 bytes, 2 bits, double average, it is going to be 8. So total is 8 plus 6 plus, so here you have what? 16 bytes, but here you have only what? 8 bytes. That is the difference between union and structure. So it can it allocates different storage space for different data type members, but it allocates common storage space. So it allocates what? Storage space for all its members separately. That is what very important. It allocates the memory spaces separately for all the data type members, but it goes for allocating one common storage space for all the data type members. So it can go for what? That is, it can go for giving what? Only one data type member at a time, right? But here we can go for handling all the members of the structure at a time, but we can access only one member of a union at a time. Okay, so here is a program for a union. The same thing what we have executed, instead that a union struct student, we can go for executing that as what? A union. But whenever you execute this, right? So assigning values to record to union variable, right? Record to, right? So whatever here you have the record 1, you have the record 2. So now which values will be displayed onto the screen? Tell me, which values will be displayed onto the screen? Can anyone give me the answer in the chat box? Can anyone give me the answer? If I have record 1 and record 2 values, which values? Very good. Very good. Who's that? Kartika. Only record 2 values will get printed. No, no, no. So the one you give the last will get printed. So the record 1 will not be printed. Record 2 only will be printed. Right? Okay. 2 only will get printed. So many of them have given the correct answers. Good. Priya. Right? Adikopula and Yugadeep, right? So the second one only, because we told that it can handle only what? One, because it has a common storage space for all data type members, it can access only one and one member type data at a time, right? So what is that which is being logically related to this? It goes for what? Executing that, right? I'll just copy this program and paste it over there. See, you are asking me why that union is unable to display the record one data, right? So in case of your record one, right, it goes, I already told that it is going to have a common storage space for all the informations, right? Whenever I can go for accessing the data, that is what in the difference also I have mentioned over here. Union occupy, we can access only one member of the union at a time. We can go for what? Accessing only one member of a union at a time. That is the reason why we are, I already we told that in case of structure, each individual data type member will be allocated the memory space, right? Individual memory space for individual data type members. But here for all the data type members, only one common storage space will be having. So what happens is that we can go for accessing only one member of the union at a time. That is the reason why we are unable to have that data one. Only we are possible. See, in case of union, it is not possible to display all the records because we have one common storage space. In some cases, whenever we need to retrieve the data in any program, just whatever the data we want, that time we can go for using the union, right? So it is better we can go for what the structures. It depends upon the application where we go for using the structure and the union, right? So it varies, right? So here I'll stop sharing it and I'll go for this thing. I have executed this program, right? Again, I'll execute it. You can see to that union record two, right? Right, you can see to that percentage, right? Name, subject, and percentage of record two values, it goes for printing it. But in you cannot see to that it can go for printing only one member at a time. So I can access money and physics. This since percentage is going to be of same data type, I am able to see to that, right? Okay. So this is an example for what union, that is the record two data will get what displayed on will get executed, right? You will not be able to access the record one data, right? Record one data will not be accessed. You will be because it can go for accessing only one member at a time. I cannot go for accessing more than one member at a time in case of which one? In case of union. That is the difference between what union as well as the structure, which is a very, very important detailed question, right? So you can expect that for with examples, they may ask you to prove what is the difference between structure and union, or you may expect that in case of your 2 marks, right? Okay, so this is the difference between what? Structure and union, right? So with this your unit 2 ends, right? So do you have any doubt in structure, union, how we go for assigning a value?